Isn't that cool? Hey guys, Ken from CMX Powersports here. Chris and I are going to run through this new Kawasaki Ridge XR. Stay tuned. Hi guys, as promised, Ken and Chris here from CMX Powersports. We finally kept one of these in stock long enough to do a little bit of a walk around on it. I think so far since this model release, we had 5 show up in a row, 5 go out the door. So I'm super stoked to take you on a walk around on this Kawasaki Ridge HVAC XR. So the XR would be kind of the top model in the Ridge HVAC series. Down from this one would be the Ridge HVAC, and then there's also a Ranch edition that we have without a cab. But we're going to go through some of the really cool legacy things on this unit for you, and we're also going to go through some of the new things and some of the capabilities. We're not going to bog you down with specifications on suspension travel and all that, because I think most people by the time they're watching this video have already looked and done their own research on that. So we're going to tell you some things that we really like. I'm going to talk about some things on the front and the back that I really like. We're going to run you through the cab together. So let's get after it. So the very first thing that I checked for on this Ridge when it came in, being that it was made by Kawasaki, is that they kept with their Fender steel wells. Now, years ago I did a review on a KRX hoping that they did the same thing on the KRX 1000, and they did. That's a very important addition to a side-by-side to me. And the reason is, I'd always seen videos of, people driving down the trail or through the farm, and a log comes up and penetrates through that, and it can actually damage the person in the driver or the passenger seat. I always thought that was important because I saw the videos. Then a couple of years back, I was in Crow's Nest Pass on a non-Kawasaki with one of my production crew members actually, and his dad, and they were driving along in front of me, and all of a sudden they stopped. Thought, why are they stopped? We were just crawling along. Sure enough, I go walk up beside the side-by-side, and my buddy had a log wedged right in between his legs. Just about took him out. So that just re-solidified this for me, and that, like I said, is kind of a legacy Kawasaki thing that I've gotten used to, and I love. Does it add a little bit of weight having Fender steel liners? Sure. Is it worth the trade-off? Every day of the week, every day. So something else that I noticed when this come in, I started looking around because I'm looking for the beefiness that Kawasaki is kind of known for. I'm looking for their smooth welds. I'm looking for how beefy the frame and the A-arms are. How attractive are they when they're on the unit? There's a lot of machines out there, if you look close enough, you're gonna find a scabby weld or something that's not aesthetically pleasing. It's structurally sound, but it's not aesthetically pleasing sometimes. I looked around this whole unit. I found nothing ugly on the whole thing. No. Like it's just a beautiful machine. Right from the heaviness of this front bumper, there's no flex in it. A lot of bumpers that are a single piece until you add on body protection that comes around. A lot of them are really flimsy on this end of the bumper. It's absolutely not. I love that they threw fog lights in with these super bright LED headlights, which we'll show you in the video. I love that they put a large enough tire for the machine onto this machine. It may not look it in the video, but these are the stock tires and they're 30s. So I believe we have 30 by 10s on the front, or 30 with 10-inch wide, and I think they're 12s on the back. Maybe even 11s. I have to look, guys. There's so many numbers rolling around. But this machine, the 30-inch tire, as you can see, it really doesn't overfill the fender well. And a lot of side-by-sides, you put 30s on it, it looks like a monster truck just because it's got 30s. I think that's really well appointed. This one, being the XR, has got a little more suspension travel than the base models. I'm told a little more horsepower. And what did you say that was again, Chris? Around 116?
116 horsepower.
Yeah, which I think is pretty awesome, naturally aspirated. So let's go around to the back. Okay, guys, here we are at the back of the Kawasaki Ridge. Chris is going to run through some cargo capacity and things like that for you, and I'll join you guys back in a minute.
Hey guys, so I want to show you the drop-down tailgate, and Kawasaki's made the box angled so water will flow out of it. You don't have to worry about water sitting in there freezing. It's going to be dry and ready for you to use. Kawasaki's got 1,000-pound cargo capacity in this box, so you can load it right up with whatever you're hauling. You don't have to worry about putting too much in there, because that's a lot of weight. Like, that should be able to do your chores. Super easy to tilt. It's assisted, takes absolutely no effort at all. And it's also super easy to put down. They have tie hooks in each corner on this box. And here you can attach accessories, you can put rails, you can put whatever you want on there. Kawasaki's got a huge list of accessories that you can add to this box. Head over to kawasaki.ca to check out all the accessories you can get for this unit. It's awesome.
Hi guys, I'm back here at the back of the machine with Chris. Thanks for going through this, Chris. I got a few things that I want to go through in addition to what Chris has given you guys for information on the box and cargo capacity and stuff. First thing that I want to do before I start talking about some innovative things that I think, you know, Kawi, you can tell they really put thought into it. And Kawasaki does take dealer surveys for things that we'd like to see happen on machines. And I'm going to show you here in a minute what I'm talking about. I didn't even realize it until my partner in crime here, Justin Bussey, pointed it out to me, because they hadn't been here long enough for me to get a real good look at, honestly. So I'm going to open up the bed here, and we're going to show you guys the motor. So when we talk about the 116 or so horsepower, I'm hoping that number's right. I'm hoping we've got it right for everybody. It's produced by a true automotive style inline 4 engine, pure Kawasaki. You look at that and you can definitely see that there's a lot of quality in there. It would be, I think, on par or better than a lot of what the automotive manufacturers are doing these days. And I think that Kawasaki does a great job, not just with the fit and finish of the whole machine, but also with the fit and finish of their engine compartments. Everything's clean, it's easy to work on. There's lots of room for our technicians to get into things. The diagnostic equipment's good. So I think that that's a really good point to make. Also, if I can get you guys in here, I'd like to just show you just the rear springs on this unit right here. So you got 1,000-pound bed capacity on this, and you can see how that looks like a progressive rate spring. Now my hands are fairly good size, and you can see how beefy that is. So not only do you have the work capability, but if you do happen to buck it a little bit in the air, it's gonna softly land you. There's one more thing that I want to show you guys in the engine compartment before we go to the very back. So we're all used to the spring and bolt exhaust systems. Something that I wanted to point out here on the exhaust system on this Kawasaki is not only is it completely heat shielded here to keep your cargo bed from getting over hot, but when you look way down here to where the exhaust hooks in, the collar, I just like you guys to take note of the size of the collar on there and the size of the bolts. Little things like that, I think, speak tremendous volumes to the quality of a machine. When you see bolts that big on something as simple as a muffler, you know the rest of the machine was completely built the same way. And like I said, I can't speak highly enough about the quality of welds and finish that Kawi puts into their frames. Okay guys, here we are at the back. We've covered the engine compartment. We've covered how nice everything is in there. There's something that I want to make a big deal out of that might be overlooked, even missed by a lot of people, and that's the hitch. If you look at the hitch on the Kawasaki, it's a standard 2-inch receiver. You know, there's nothing really innovative or special about having a standard 2-inch receiver hitch on a side-by-side. That idea is kind of as old as side-by-sides, really. But when you look at the Kawasaki hitch setup, there's two things that really stick out to me. Number one, it's direct to frame, and it's not direct to frame in just one spot. It's direct to frame in 2. So it's got this vertical support on it. I can't tell you how many times in a service department I've had ATVs or side-by-sides come in and that little tongue for the hitch is bent. So here's the other thing that's really special about this hitch. If I line my leg up right here, you can see the hitch is right out to the back of the side-by-side. I don't know that I've seen that yet. Most side-by-sides with a dump box on it, the box and everything protrudes out past the hitch. So when you're trying to deal with your hitch, you're actually kind of, it would be kind of like this equivalent. So you're actually trying to get under the box and jack around and in the mud and out doing chores and in the snow. That's not ideal. If that hitch is right even, number one, it's way easier to get your receiver into that. But number two, the other thing that it does, and this is probably one of the more important things in my mind about that hitch setup, is instead of having to buy a longer tongue to clear the box of your side-by-side, if you've got a higher trailer when you turn, you're hitting, right? Because your hitch isn't long enough, you don't have to buy another hitch that's longer to clear the box of the side-by-side. Also, another benefit to it, again, just as important in my mind, is it puts that hitch weight farther towards the axles, which means that you're not squatting your machine as much. So you could take the same amount of weight, it's like a fulcrum. If you took 20 pounds and I held my arm straight out and you put it on the end of my arm, I'm gonna go down a lot faster than if you put it right here. So that's the idea. That's what I think, and I'm sure that's what Kawasaki had in mind when they designed it. When I look down here, I always talk about Kawasaki's A-arms and their axles and even their brake setups, four-wheel disc brake. But I think it's just worth pointing out real quick. And again, these videos are about stuff that we think is impressive that the companies have done. It's not as much about technical specification. But I can tell you, being a farm boy myself, when I look at a side-by-side and the A-arm is a handful of steel, and I don't see the welds, that's important to me. Even the upper A-arms are super thick. That's got to be inch or better. So good job, Kawasaki, on all of that stuff. Next, we're going to hit the driver's seat. Chris will be in the driver's seat. We'll go through the interior appointments with you.
Hey guys, so I'm just going to run you through the cab here. Kawasaki's done a really good job with this. They've given us tons of storage space in there. You got glove box here, tons of room for everything. You got a center console here. You can put your phone or your wallet in. They give you a 12-volt plug in there. Now, if you look up here, you've got AC and you've got heat. Kawasaki's done a really good job of setting up the vents in this system. They've got vents for the windshield, and it's not going to take away from the vents that you want heating the cab. So you don't have to direct these towards the windshield because they've got dedicated vents just for defrosting the windshield for you. They've got ambient lighting down there, as you can see. The switches all light up. And then they've given us a nice big full color display that's going to show you all the details you need to know about your machine. You've also got 3 different power modes. I want to point that out while I'm in here. So if I hit this switch here, you've got sport, normal, and work mode. And right here, you've got your 4-wheel drive. And you've got diff lock. So here we've got our light controls. So you've got high beam and low beam. I'm just going to run you guys through the menu real quick here. If you want us to do a whole video on all the features that are in this display, let us know in the comments. Just real quick, like if you go to your vehicle information, you've got all kinds of info there. And then down here in your settings, again, there's a whole bunch of different settings in there. They give you service there, so you can check your service intervals and see when you need to do an oil change or something like that.
Guys, so Chris went through some things that he really likes and that kind of turned his crank with this machine, like this sweet instrument cluster and some other stuff. I just wanted to mention some things that I really like about the interior of this machine as well, just being a rider of how long I've been and just things that I notice. One thing I noticed about this machine is how easy that e-brake is. You literally just pull it on like that, and when you're done, you push the brake and let her down. It's so easy. Another thing that's important to me on a heated, air-conditioned cab unit is this right here. It doesn't seem like much, but a headliner in a unit like this really helps to keep the heat and the cool into the machine. And that's kind of it's thin, but it's kind of an insulated felt type stuff. I also love that they threw an interior light in it, just like a truck. A lot of units you have to buy a separate cab kit and stuff to get. This particular unit comes with that. I'm not sure if Chris mentioned, but you also have wiper with washer included. Another cool thing that I like, obviously, is the colors. I love the Kawasaki green. I love the bolstering in these seats. The way that they cradle your legs and your back, I think is near perfect. I think the other seat that I can think of that's reminiscent of these seats is the Kawasaki Teryx. The OG Teryx. I think they're still out there and stuff, and they're still producing, but that's the only other seat that I've had that I think has been as comfortable as these seats. I love that they color match everything in the cab. I also like this. This is a nice big storage compartment in the middle, like a storage console, I guess, same as you'd have in your truck. And I think that one is almost as big as the one that I have in my truck. Something else that I noticed about this cab, and Chris probably noticed too, I'm sure, I mean, anybody that's watched any of our videos knows that Chris and I are both about 6 foot tall, maybe a little bit more on different shoe days, but that's kind of where we're sitting. As you can see, I've got just a wicked amount of room to move in this machine, but it doesn't accomplish that by making the machine look awkward and weird and too tall. I think this machine is perfectly proportioned when you look at it from the outside. So another good thing, another good job for Kawasaki there. Maybe we'll go around to the front, talk about 1 or 2 more things, and then we'll wrap up for you guys.
Hey guys, so one thing we want to point out is with the HVAC system, you've got an inner air filter that's going to filter the air that's coming into your cab. So if you're working on the farm, it's really dusty. Most people know that. Well, this is going to block out a lot of that dust that gets into your cab. It goes hand in hand with how well they've sealed the cab. Like, not only is it sealed really well, but the air coming into it is going to be clean air.
Yeah, there's a side bonus to that too. It keeps all of your inner vent systems cleaner and stuff like that. You know, there's another bonus, I guess, if you're a trail rider that buys one of these and you have a child that's got allergies, severe allergies, this is going to help them be able to get out and enjoy. You know, being in a fairly sealed up cab with a pollen filter in place, it's going to help people with allergies be able to get out and enjoy those outdoors with having a little less problem with pollen and stuff like that. So Chris is going to show you guys kind of where that's located. We do suggest you always bring it to your dealer to have it changed, but we'll show you guys where it's located here. It's no secret, it's in the owner's manual. So Chris is going to run you through that.
And that inner air filter is just located inside there.
Yeah, super slick idea, especially on an HVAC system. That I'm really glad they included it and put it in there. Like I said, good for the family, good for dust, good for the inside of the unit, good for everything. So another thing, good job, Cowie. Yeah. Okay guys, here we are back at the front of this unit. Just wanted to touch a couple more things before we let you go and wrap this video up. Just some stuff that, you know, we've learned working on this together because it is such a new model. We're just gonna go ahead and pop this front panel off here, Chris. I just want to show you guys some cool stuff under here. So obviously it's a service access panel, and what we've got under here, it's a pretty simple idea. You've got your coolant, you've got your coolant reservoir, you've got your washer fluid fill, and you've got your fuse boxes, or your main couple fuse boxes. The hood of the Kawasaki is not only the fit and finish of their wiring, because they've always been great at that. They've always been good at keeping their wiring like waterproof, watertight, like clean. But I want to mention a couple more things and then we're going to let you guys go. So a lot of side-by-sides out there, Chris and I have looked at, we've operated, they've got washer fluid, they've got a jet, you know, it works well, but the jet is up in the middle. Most of the time the washer is kind of coming down on the windshield. The washer fluid is kind of essentially, it's squirting out, but it's kind of falling onto the windshield while the wiper works. That's great, and it works fairly good. I always find that there's kind of like that one spot that the washer fluid just can't get to. Kawasaki solved that with this little nub right here. This is a dual jet washer fluid. I know you guys probably can't see it in the video, but it's got a jet that squirts that way, and it's got a jet that squirts that way. So it really is covering your whole field of vision in one jet. I love that they did it. The other thing that we found out while I was so amazed with the washer jet is inside this hole right here is the snorkels for your air intake and your CVT air cooling intake. What's really cool about that is there's not going to be a need to snorkel this unit, even if you're a mud driver, unless you're into water up here. And if you're into water up here, you probably shouldn't have one of these.
Should have bought a boat.
In my opinion, buy a jet ski or a boat. Yeah. So another design just to kind of go along with the air intakes being way up here. Like that's got to be, you think that is, Chris, 4 feet off the ground?
At least.
It's got to be 4 feet.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that. And a lot of other manufacturers have done the same thing. They started going high with their snorkels, but to see it in a sport utility, which it will also be the same in the utility line, is really cool. So when we're looking at the design of these snorkels, guys, I think what I really like here is not only do you have the hood protecting that from dust and everything else, but you've got a bit of a raised lip, kind of blocking that ram air intake just a little bit, so that if you're going down a dusty road, I think the idea to this is pushing the dust up and over it so that it stays as clean as possible. The air coming into the air filtration system stays as clean as possible. it's just another kind of fail safe for me. And I think that that's why they did that. Okay guys, so that is our walk around of the Ridge HVAC XR. Thank you, Chris, for being here and helping me with it. And thank you everybody for watching. You know, we put a lot of work into our videos here, and we're just hoping that you guys can smash that like button.
And subscribe for more.
Yeah, and again, like we've said before, leave us comments if you have questions. You want us to do a video on something separate that has to do with the HVAC, leave it in the comments, and we'll do our best to get back to that for you.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, everybody. Take care.